They said walk away. They said the noise would win. But the truth is, when people stand together, no voice gets lost. No voice gets lost. I've walked through shadows, heard the lies, watched the rumors multiply. But every storm that tried to break me only showed the strength inside. Some came hurting, some came strong, some just searching to belong. And every night our little corner turned strangers into one. And every voice that finds its place adds another light of grace. Welcome to Mommy Ramblings tonight, where truth stands tall and hearts unite. Bring your story, bring your light. Right here we rise and fight, through the noise and through the flame. I still remember all your names. This is more than just a stream, it's family. It's hope, it's Mommy Ramblings. They tried to silence what we built, but love is louder than the guilt. And every friend who stayed beside me turned his shadow to hope. Welcome to Mommy Ramblings tonight, where courage shines and hope ignites. Bring your story, bring your light. Right here we rise and fight, through every storm and every flame. I'll still remember every name. This is more than just a dream, it's family. This is more than just a stream. It's
Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. Welcome in, everybody. So, let's see. We got a lot of true crime to talk about. Let me just make sure that you can hear me here. Coming up. There we go. Okay. Say something, Carolyn. Okay, hopefully you can hear. Okay. All right, so let me put myself on camera. So welcome in. Oh gosh, that's right. I think I was explaining. So hi Planet Damnation, hi everybody, B Lady and Jen and Denise and Linda and Sandra, are you here? And who else did I miss? Let's see here. Denise, Jen, Laura B. Light, Linda, Planet Damnation, the B Lady, and all the people that haven't signed into the chat yet, welcome. We're going to talk about a little bit about, hi Sandra, there you are. Hello, Denali, how are you? Talk a little bit about Nancy first, and then or should I go in right away and start with Kyleah? Now, for those of you that weren't here yesterday, Kyleah Tolle, she was adopted, and I've done some digging a little bit, and there is a lot of stuff going around with that case, but believe it or not, there are some people there, as with every case, okay, that are saying some things about her Like, I know a lot of you were like, oh my gosh, she should never be allowed to have children. She cared about getting a fix more than her kids. Well, would you believe there's a whole bunch of people, including new mothers, saying that before I had my child, I would say the same thing. Now that I have a 6-month-old, I went through such bad postpartum depression that I don't know what to say anymore. And there are people saying that she reached out for help. This is what, but I don't understand this, okay? Because I think, from what I can gather, that her adoptive parents were helping her and were going over there. So why couldn't she get the help that she needed? People were saying that she was saying she didn't have food and anything. Now I have to think, is that a ploy to get money to buy drugs or what? Or was she really not having food? And if she didn't have food, I thought her parents were providing food. So I'm kind of lost. And they're saying, oh, well, she didn't have the help she needed. And I've just started to dig into this case. So, hi, Ballerina Lies. But those of you, are any of you really familiar with the Kyleah Tolle case out of Yakima, Washington? Apparently, she was also on OnlyFans, and she was also on Snapchat and TikTok, I believe. And OnlyFans, I don't know what that says there. OnlyFans, a lot of people were making a lot of money on OnlyFans, right? You went through the postpartum depression after you lost. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sandra. I never heard of this case, but it sounds interesting. Okay, so we had started reading through the 100 pages of this investigation. And tell me where you want to start tonight. Do you want to start with Nancy Guthrie updates, or do you want to go right back into the Kyleah? You know, she was saying that this other lady kind of sounded like a Casey Anthony thing called KK. And there is a lady named KK, and KK is in prison. But she said, oh, it was KK that I believe she was trying to blame the baby's death on. And she left the kids with the window open. That 2-year-old, it's a miracle that 2-year-old is alive. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Sandra. Oh, how devastating. I'm so sorry. Nancy Guthrie sounds more interesting to you. We're doing both tonight, Denali, so it's just, do we want to lead in with some Nancy Guthrie? Let's lead in with some Nancy Guthrie, then we'll go to Kyleah, and then back. Okay. I'm okay with Nancy Guthrie. All right, let's do some Nancy Guthrie updates today, because there is some stuff. Okay, not a whole lot, but we talked about the scramblers, and that's really not a possibility because it would have scrambled everything, not just one camera or something. It would have disabled the whole system. If it's a Wi-Fi jammer, it's going to jam the Wi-Fi, so none of the cameras are going to work, right? Okay, now there's some stuff about a 911 call that the night that Nancy disappeared, and we've heard this woman was screaming out the window. The sheriff gave an update, and he said he has moved on from the men that were detained. So that is the closest we're going to get to him clearing these men, Carlos and Luke. So, but that is what Sheriff Nano said, that he has moved on from the men that were detained. Now let me go over here, see what we got. And I keep thinking yesterday was Saturday, today is Sunday, so I'm all in a tizzy. Keep thinking the trial's tomorrow. It's not. Okay, so let's see what we got. Now, someone is saying, why are they saying? That's 2007, folks. Nancy's house was being sold. Many people are talking about the jammer in the suspect's pocket. But now people are saying it could have been a walkie-talkie instead of a burner phone. It could have been a police scanner even, to see if someone's after them, right? Absolutely, if it's even that at all. We know that people look at pictures and they see a lot of things, right? Okay. Okay, so I wanted to get where about this 911 call, because everybody thinks that somehow it's related, but are they thinking it was Nancy? I mean, I don't know. Does anybody think at this point that Nancy is going to be found? Does anybody believe she will be found, or do you think it will just remain a mystery? I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, I was just looking at something here. I just checking Twitter just for the latest, and you know, now there's a lot of. I'm just looking at the Twitter feeds. There's a lot of hate. On some of the people that are there, like, why are they there? So this is the way the internet goes. Okay, 1 minute you're on a pedestal, the next minute you're getting hate. So, is there enough proof now? What does someone put here? Now let's see here. What is this? I can't even see this. Oh, yeah. People are still pushing the power of attorney that was for the mortgage for Annie and Tommaso's home. And now I think they've totally, who knows what they're doing. What are you dreaming about? Come here, Bubby. Let's see. Dog's having a dream. I think it's Jazzy. Come here, Jazzy. Let me see here. All right. So there, it's. I'm telling you, it's turned into like a garbage factory. I'm serious. It really has turned into a garbage factory with all of this fake news and all of this. I mean, AI, I think, has its place, but when people are making videos and they're using like dead people they're talking, and that's what they're calling the brain rot. That's what YouTube is against. It's the stuff that's putting stuff out there that's not true. And so many people are believing this crap. And you know that once somebody says, oh, I saw it, they don't understand that it's not true. And I think it's going to be, oh my gosh, it's turned everything into garbage. Really, it is. It's just garbage. But, let me see here. Come here, Jazzy. All right, so let's see. The sheriff addresses that 911 call, the person screaming. And so Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos said investigators reviewed the call describing the woman screaming from inside a vehicle, but determined it was unrelated to the case. Okay, but we're going to keep hearing it for a long, long time now because people have got it in their heads. He said, and I quote, this is a direct quote from him, "We heard that. We looked into it that night. We found those individuals and interviewed them. It was a domestic violence situation that had nothing to do with this case at all." So there is that, but we'll keep hearing it. I'm sure we will, because that's how this works. He confirmed the FBI and a crime lab are assisting investigators as they analyze data and evidence connected to the case. Search teams have also recovered more than a dozen gloves. Nano said the closest glove was 2.5 miles from Guthrie's home, but it is not tied to this case. DNA or not, we have no way of tying it to the scene without analyzing it, he said. Some of the gloves were found 6 to 7 miles away, still under review. Authorities have already eliminated at least one glove. Another glove that drew attention was linked to a restaurant worker, though the sheriff declined to explain how investigators obtained the person's DNA. It led us across the street where the glove was found. It did not surprise us. A number of the gloves we looked at, we believe, came from that industry. Let's see here now. Jennifer Dobler, former FBI intelligence analyst, said earlier this week, releasing any information that could cause the public to stop supporting the hunt or stop looking for the perpetrators is not the right move. Another former FBI agent said when agents canvassed for doorbell and surveillance footage in the first 48 hours, they are working with a rough timeline, but timelines sharpen. As cell phone records come back, as Walmart purchase data is analyzed, as the suspect's clothing gets traced through retail channels, the timeline tightens, and suddenly a neighbor's answer that seemed irrelevant 3 weeks ago suddenly becomes critical. Let's see. The Guthrie family still has that $1 million reward for information leading to the recovery of their mother. But solid information in the case has been hard to come by. Anyone with information should call 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to tips.fbi.gov. Let's see what else we have. Fitness influencer Stephanie Buttermore dead at 36, according to her fiancé. A TikTok mom of 3 dead following tummy tuck complications. Wow. Mother and daughter killed while warning family of Godzilla tornadoes. Britney Spears had a DUI. Okay, I'm just trying to say. Savannah Guthrie's ex-husband continues to live a quiet life. I can't believe they haven't suspected her ex-husband the way this is going, right? I've meant to say that many times. Is someone real? Okay, an expert here is saying that the Nancy Guthrie suspect, well, let's see what kind of expert they are, is someone really close. An expert revealed why investigators are looking much closer to home for the suspect. Let's see. With few confirmed leads, experts say investigators often look first to the people. Yes, okay, we all know that. They look close to it. Apparently, Brian Enton asked, who did he ask? About the case. Who did he ask? They don't even say who he asked. A criminal attorney. What? Who? I don't even know what that. Oh, retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell said, I guess she was asked by Brian Enton, if, what did he say? Have you thought about whether the person could be someone very close in proximity? Okay, so this is the proximity, not in relation to Nancy Guthrie. Could this be a neighbor? Yes. So even though they may be a person in the neighborhood, they're going to be looking for patterns. Federal agents were seen returning to Guthrie's neighborhood. Agents were also seen speaking with several neighbors. In Enton's video, he went on to explain that it's common for investigators to review timelines and revisit potential evidence, including cell phone data and retail purchases. Okay, let's see. They found a woman's body found in a Phoenix canal. Is she connected to like everyone they find is going to be, is she connected, right? Phoenix is ways away, right? The body of a woman found dead near a canal has not been linked to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Okay. Okay, let's see. Alabama is set to execute man who did not kill anyone. Then they have Mexican moms who have found thousands of cartel victims turn efforts to finding Nancy Guthrie. I thought the sheriff said thanks, but no thanks. So, but they're still there, right? Let me see. A Mexican mom hopes that Nancy Guthrie will be found alive and reunited with her loved ones, unlike the thousands of victims whose remains she has found in mass graves. Cici Flores founded Madres Buscadoras de Sonora, a collection of mothers searching for their missing family members after 2 of her 6 sons kidnapped by a criminal gang in May of 2019. A day later, the gang released, I guess, one of her sons who was 15 after she reportedly confronted the leader at his home and threatened to use violence if they were not released. Her other son, who was 31, was never freed and has not been seen since. A third son is also missing, and he vanished in 2015. Wow. She has taken up the task to find 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Someone made an anonymous call to our group telling us that she has been smuggled across the border to Nogales through a place called Las Mariposas, Flores said. The post of the Mexican community just over the southern border from Tucson where Nancy lived. Someone called us to give us information. We don't know if it's true or not. Something to play with our emotions. We don't know the truth. We verify all the information we receive. We go to the location and we check. Regardless of whether it's true or not, we go. We went to Las Mariposas but found nothing. Okay, and then what else does she have to say? Since setting up the collective a decade ago, Flores and her team have found the remains of more than 2,000 victims, and they've located 130 people alive who were missing. Let's see. She hopes to obtain immigration documents for her team to enter the United States and join the search in Tucson. But she claimed federal and local authorities would be embarrassed if the search group solves the high-profile case. Look, honestly, I don't think they'll give us permission because they know our search history. They know the results we've achieved. And I think if we went into Arizona field to search for Ms. Nancy and found her, we would embarrass the U.S. authorities. They know if we go to search, we can find her because we have many years of field experience, something they don't have. So for that simple reason, knowing we could embarrass them in the media, in the eyes of society, they won't do it. Okay, and that's that. Let's see. Amateur jump jockey Sam Lee dies at 27. A man who poured coffee on his wife's head strangled to death by son. Influencer circus around Nancy Guthrie's house. Okay, so I don't think there's that much other than that. So a Nashville teen reported missing years ago was found safe in West Tennessee. That's good news there. But other than that, the 911 call is not related. Everything's not related. There's really not much going on there, right? I love this. Expert analyzes Nancy Guthrie ransom notes, likely not from her abductor. Really, Sherlock? Okay. Yeah, that's about it on that. I don't see anything else that's a real update, and the updates is that there's really not many updates on that. So let me see what you guys are saying. I think I'm ready to move on to Kyleah. Ballerina lies. Strep. Who's got strep? I'm over here because you have strep. Oh no. I hope you're okay. I forgot who Savannah's ex is. She's, yeah. Yeah, please feel better. Did they have Nancy's phone info? They haven't said anything about that. Her phone was left at the house. Her hearing aids were left at the house. Her glasses were left at the house. Her purse was left at the house. They haven't said anything about her clothing. If her shoes were gone, they haven't mentioned her cane was left at the house. It doesn't look good, Laura. I mean, you know, it just doesn't look good. What? Oh. Yeah, it doesn't look good on that. I mean, Jimmy's talking to the TV. Okay. Let's see. Savannah was divorced. Yeah, she was married before. Savannah got married, if I'm not mistaken, she got married to the guy she's with now. Didn't she get married in something like March and then have a baby in July? And then she had IVF. She had a baby at, I think she had a baby at 45 years old, the second one. And her sister, Annie, I believe, had one child late in her 40s, too. Hi, K-Love. I've been wondering where you are. I think I asked for you the other day. I heard that too. I also heard that all of her things were at the house. Yeah, allegedly all her things were at the house, that there was no burglary, nothing was taken. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know if this is ever going to be solved, really. I think it could very well go the way of JonBenet. You know? Oh my goodness, did you really, K-Love? I'm so sorry. Was that sudden? Oh my gosh. I'm so very sorry. Sudden, Do they live near you? Does your daughter live near you, K-Love? Oh my goodness. Do they have children, young children? Next weekend are the services, I would assume. Terrible. And little lady, I'm thinking of you. Praying for you. Two adult children. Oh. Saturday. Yeah, that's sad. stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of people have a lot of stuff going on. The world has a lot of stuff going on. So let's do a pivot. Let me pull up this Kyleah case. I'd like to view a single page there, please. Okay, we were on page, I think it was like 51 or so, right? Page 24. And this was all the that's better. Okay, that's good. And what happened here, this is in Yakima, Washington, and we listened to some of the calls that went in from her father and baby daddy's sister and stuff. But females, okay. So I think this was that they were canvassing for video, and they went through and they found some video, and in viewing the device, one of the cameras appeared to show in the top left corner a small portion of the residence. That's where Kyleah lived. But they were not confident any motion would have been detected, as motion detective cameras generally only activate when motion is detected in the main portion of the camera. Fernando provided me his mother's contact information. Okay. I observed cameras at 310 with at least one appearing to point in the direction of her address. Jennifer and Antonio advised that they were aware of the recent local news. Jennifer and Antonio indicated to me that they had known a young female and her 2 children to live at the location, and Jennifer and Antonio mentioned seeing an old male and 2 younger males at various times at the location, but not at frequencies that led them to believe that anyone else was living there. Jennifer advised the last time she saw Kyleah was approximately 2 weeks ago, and Antonio said the last time he saw Kyleah was February 19th. Antonio showed me a video showing the date 2/20/2025 at 17:17 hours. The actual time would have been 2/19/25 at 16:47 hours. The brief video shows a small petite female exit the residence, enter a silver Hyundai Santa Fe that departs. The female's face is not clearly seen, but based upon her size, I suspect it is Kyleah. I have reviewed video from her arrest and had seen Kyleah when she was brought to the interview room. Antonio advised that based upon his check of the system, the video storage went back to the beginning of February. I attempted to collect the video from the DVR, but it soon became apparent the videos can only be transferred at a rate of 5 video clips at a time. 5 videos, from what I could tell, could be as little as 15 minutes of video, so the amount of video files would be over 400 for the weeks leading up to the incident. I asked to see if I could download the video remotely from the Zio's Smart app. Antonio provided permission for me to do so and provided his login and username. I attempted to use the Zio's Smart application. The application would not show the video or allow the video to be downloaded. I researched the issue and it became apparent I would not be able to download the video remotely using this process because of the sheer amount of time to manually transfer videos from the system. It would only allow a transfer of 5 videos at a time, which could be as little as 15 minutes worth of video. I asked Sergeant Yates if it would be possible to purchase a new DVR if they provided theirs as evidence. The idea was approved, so I returned and I spoke with Jennifer again, who advised that this would be fine for police to take their DVR as evidence. Okay, so they took the DVR, gave them a new one. Okay, he got that. Now we have another officer who responded along with other members of the Yakima Police Department. I arrived moments after officers had entered the duplex through the unlocked door. I walked inside the duplex and I could hear a child quietly crying. I heard someone advise that there was a code 5, which is a deceased baby, which confused me because I heard crying. I went inside what appeared to be a children's room and saw a small child, later identified as the 2-year-old, in a small crib playpen that was crying. I saw she had very thick mucus coming from her nose and she appeared very thin and looked ill. I then peered into a freestanding bassinet that contained a blanket and a deceased infant. I could see her face. I could see the face of the infant. They appeared pale. The eyes were extremely sunken in and dry. I immediately recognized the baby had been deceased for an extended period of time, and they were not someone that could be treated with CPR in an attempt to resuscitate them. I then walked outside while on my radio requesting an aide to come to the scene, as I had seen them staged on West Lincoln Avenue earlier. The ambulance arrived and I advised them that their patient would be a small child that appeared to have been abandoned some time ago. I then remained on scene to facilitate the security of the scene, hand over to CID, as well as arranging ProAct's involvement in attempting to locate Tolle, Kyleah Tolle, the mother. Okay, that's that. Now we have another supplemental narrative of Bullock Walter. I was working uninformed patrol in the city of Yakima. I think they mean uniformed patrol, not uninformed. At approximately 1:31 hours, I observed a vehicle affixed to the rear bumper of the vehicle was that license plate. I ran the vehicle registration in the police database, which showed the registered owner of the vehicle had a warrant out for their arrest. The registered owner displayed a female named Kylia Tol, and after conducting a DOL return for Kylia, I was able to match the DOL listed photo the driver. I then activated my red and blue emergency lights, conducted a traffic stop. The vehicle then pulled into a parking space at McDonald's. I then got out of my patrol car and contacted the driver. The vehicle was occupied by the driver, Kylia, and an unidentified white male. I advised Kylia that she had a warrant for her arrest and to turn off her vehicle and step out. Kylia started to make noises as if she was crying and made a statement about how she needed to contact her father and that she had the warrant because of something her grandmother had done. Once Kylia got out of the vehicle, she made a comment of something similar to, I have kids, in an attempt for me to just release her. It should be noted that on my initial contact with the vehicle, I shined my flashlights into the back seat of the vehicle, and there was clutter piled up almost to the top of the back seats. The items looked to be clothing, garbage, and other miscellaneous items. Once the warrant was confirmed, Kyleah was placed in handcuffs and searched incident to arrest. Since Kyleah's vehicle was legally parked in a parking spot turned off, the vehicle was left at that location. Kyleah made no request to have someone pick up the vehicle or that the male still inside the vehicle was unable to take custody of the vehicle. Kyleah was then transported to the Yakima County Jail, where she was booked on her misdemeanor warrant. Okay, next is Ryan Weisner. I arrived on scene after patrol and CID detectives had arrived. I contacted Lieutenant Janice, the CID acting division commander. Speaking to him, I learned the mother, RP, was not at the location, but had in fact called into a back line to report the welfare check. He assigned me and my team to locate the mother, Kylia Tolle. Also, in conversation, I learned that officers and detectives were trying to get in touch with Kylia's father, Kelly Quinnell. I was able to contact Kelly via a phone number listed in Spillman. I didn't give Kelly full details as to why I was wanting to locate Kyleah, nor what was occurring at the scene. Kelly relayed to me that he hadn't spoken with Kyleah on this date, but felt that she may be with a friend that he knew only as M, that may live on Dusty Puddle Road in Salai, Wenis area. I knew what car Kyleah was driving. Kelly had told me. I drove to this area while I activated the rest of my ProAct team to begin looking for Kyleah. I did not locate Kyleah or her vehicle on Dusty Puddle Road. I also didn't attempt any residences on the road. I was in contact with Sergeant Panettone with YSO. He researched addresses and contacted me again, stating he was unable to come up with anything that resembled an M. While doing this, the ProAct team and I were able to utilize the flock system and locate Kyleah's vehicle leaving the town of Salai on the early morning hours of this date, but zero hits in the city of Yakima after this time. We felt that Kyleah may have fled the area or dumped her vehicle someplace. Let's see. I was just reading. Hi, Mr. Wu. How are you? Hi, Sandra. Thank you for the compliments. A detective with the city of Union Gap was working with Officer Molinex, who is on the ProAct team. He was in contact with a friend of Kyleah's, and they were giving us possible locations of her Snapchat locations. This ended up not panning out. Didn't pan out. After several hours of searching for her and her vehicle, we had come up empty-handed. Late afternoon, 911 received a call from a friend of Kyleah's, stating that Kyleah was at the Squaw Rock Resort on Highway 410. The ProAct team, along with Sergeant Panettone, responded to this location. I was the second to arrive. Sergeant Panettone, it always makes me hungry for Panettone, had her in custody already. She was read her Mirandas by Sergeant Panettone. I had her exit his patrol car and placed her in the backseat of my patrol car. I recorded my time with Kyleah with my Axon front and back recorder. While driving to Yakima from the place of arrest, a comment that Kyleah made resonates with me. She asked how two people were, and I told her I wasn't familiar with the name she provided. She then asked if there were one or two victims. I knew what she was asking, and told her 1. This stuck with me because it was obvious she thought that both of her children were deceased. At the police department, I walked to a detective interview room in the CID area. Here I remained with her before and during the interview with Detective De Leon. The interview was lengthy, and it was recorded on Axon. From the interview, it's clear that Kyleah knew her children were malnourished, and she knew that one of the children were dead. At one point, she stated the deceased kid could have been dead 6+ days. Okay, here's the initial call. On Tuesday, February 25th, I was actively working as a detective assigned to the Yakima Police Department's SAU unit. It was 7:30 when it was brought to attention of SAU that a deceased child was located inside, that's Kyleah's residence. Call comments for this incident stated that there was a female reporting party who called into 911 crying, advising dispatch she could no longer live with herself. The reporting party also mentioned something about a baby, stating she didn't know if the baby was dead or alive. Dispatch said the reporting party was refusing to answer any questions, but advised the number she called in was associated to a female identified as Kylia Tol. After learning Kyleah had been arrested and agreed to speak with police, I decided to listen in and watch the recorded interview that was conducted by Detective De Leon. I did this remotely from my office using the Axon live streaming application on my department-issued computer. I will not summarize this interview in my report, but I will note some things that were brought up and I found to be relevant to the care of her children. And during the interview, Kyleah mentioned the name Sophie Cunningham, a person Kyleah described as a care provider for her children. She also mentioned the name KK when she was asked about who she left her children with when she last saw them. Having learned this information, Detective T. Priestman conducted additional follow-up on who KK was, and I did the same with Sophie Cunningham. Please refer to the Detective De Leon's report for more information regarding his interview with Kyleah. The following information will include the follow-ups I conducted as well as the interviews I administered due to the information that was acquired during my investigation. Circle K fuel station follow-up. I responded to the Circle K fuel station located between Nob Hill Boulevard to find footage of a conversation or contact that took place between Kyleah Tolle and a female identified as Kaylee DeVita. The contact was said to have occurred on the west end of this business near the fuel pumps and the adjacent dealership. The date for the contact was believed to have taken place 2/24, sometime around 2200 hours and midnight on 2/25. The information was provided by Detective Shepard, who also mentioned that both Kyleah and Kaylee arrived on foot. Due to the dates and times Kyleah was reported to have been at this business, it was important to document her whereabouts and location based on the fact that her children were found without her being present. Detective Shepard told me the person to contact at Circle K for the video was the business manager, Umar Salya. After reviewing several hours of video footage, I did not see this alleged contact take place, nor did I see either of them on the property. However, I did see a vehicle consistent with Kyleah's vehicle, a gray Hyundai Santa Fe SUV. The vehicle was first seen driving onto the property at around 22:10 hours, where it's captured driving past all fuel pumps and towards the rear north of the business. Camera footage showed what looked like a larger subject in the driver's seat, wearing a green shirt. Due to poor camera resolution, it's hard to see if there was anyone occupying the front passenger seat or the rear passenger seat. When I asked Umar if I could see the cameras located on the north and east end of the business, he advised those did not work. After continuing to watch video footage, I observed what I believed to be the same vehicle drive back into the parking lot. Around 22:30 hours, the vehicle parked directly in front of the business, closer to the curb, with its front end facing south towards East Nob Hill Boulevard. The vehicle was parked there for a few minutes before a male was seen exiting the driver's side. The male who exited was also wearing a green shirt. At the time, I was not completely sure if this was Kyleah's vehicle. Due to the poor resolution of the camera, it did not allow for a good view of the license plate. To add, there was no mention of her arriving at this location in her vehicle. Still photographs of the vehicle were taken with my department-issued phone. I showed Detective Shepard the photos of the vehicle. I had to compare them to the flock hits. She had looked up for Kyleah's vehicle earlier in the day. The photos we reviewed via flock depicted Kyleah's vehicle to have dark-colored wheels and a sunroof. These particular details were consistent with the vehicle I observed on the camera footage. Given this information, Detective Shepard went back to the location to download video of the vehicle seen coming onto the property. The downloaded video was saved onto a thumb drive and later collected by myself. In addition to the video, I requested Umer if I could see video from the inside of the store to capture the subject with the green shirt when he walked inside. I took still photos of this male to include the items he purchased and the receipt of those items as well. After collecting this evidence, I showed other detectives in SAU photos of this male to see if anyone could help me identify who he was. Detective Levy saw the photo, stated it was Bradley Johnson. According to the detective, E. Levy, Bradley was the father of one of Kyleah's friends, Desiree Robinson. The photos taken and video collected have been uploaded onto evidence.com. Having learned this information, I believed it was important to set up an interview with Bradley to see what information he had about Kyleah, if any. Interview of Sophie Cunningham, Sophie. The following is a summary of the information Sophie provided and not verbatim of what was said. Please refer to the recorded interview for full details. Reason why I decided to interview Sophie was because her name was initially brought up during the recorded interview with Kyleah as a possible babysitter. Additionally, she was also brought up by Kyleah's mother, Blair Quinnell. On February 27th at 16:33 hours, I conducted a recorded interview with Sophie in our Special Assault Unit office. Sophie told me she was well aware of the matters regarding this investigation, to include the status of the children involved. After being told that her name was brought up, Sophie became very emotional and started to sob and advised Kyleah was her best friend. Sophia said she couldn't believe Kyleah would do this to her kids. Despite labeling Kyleah as her best friend, Sophie said the two became distant around November of 2024. This was due to her disagreements with the type of men, younger, Kyleah dated. However, Sophie said they reconnected in January of 2025 after Kyleah noticed Sophie had posted a photo of a redacted person on her social media. Sophie said they both agreed to put their disagreements aside, which in one hand would allow Sophie to be closer to someone redacted, someone she saw as her own niece. According to Sophie, she was invited to, the child's birthday a few weeks later on January 25th of 2025. After, that must be the 2-year-old, okay? After that event, that would be the 2-year-old's birthday, Sophie stated she only saw, that's the children, one more time when Kyleah and her met up at the mall on January 31st. On this particular day, Sophie said she saw a bruise on, one of the child's noses, which she described to be hardcore. When she questioned Kyleah about it, Kyleah said the child had acquired the bruise at daycare. Sophie told Kyleah she needed to take a photo of this injury so they could confront the daycare provider about this. When she did this, Sophia said Kyleah was kind of weird about it. When I asked her what she meant by this, Sophia said Kyleah was not very receptive to her taking this photo. But she did it either way. Sophia said she messaged Kyleah's mom, Blair, the photo she had taken of the child. According to the information Sophia obtained from Blair, the bruising was noticed before the child was taken to daycare. Older documented injury of the child here. Sophie showed me the photo she took of the child using her personal cell phone. The photo depicted the child with purple bruising around both her eyes. Based on my training and experience with combat sports and receiving similar bruises myself, the bruising I observed is similar to that of someone who was punched directly in the nose, or someone who was struck or fell on their face onto a hard surface. Sophie told me anytime the babies were in the custody of Kyleah, they would always have diaper rashes. Sophie said when they were at the mall, Kyleah never bothered to change her daughter's diapers, not once. Sophia said she had to offer to change a diaper after feeling how full and wet her diaper felt. Sophia said that the child was wearing clothing over her diaper, yet the moisture from the diaper was leaking through. When she changed the diaper, Sophia said she saw some redness around the child's buttocks. Sophia said it could have been a rash, but she wasn't sure because she didn't have children of her own. Aside from the poor diaper changing habits Kyleah had, Sophia said Kyleah has never done a good job with maintaining good hygiene for her daughters, advising she felt she never bathed them. Sophia explained that every time she saw the baby, she would always have to wash and brush her hair because of how sticky and dirty it felt. When questioned about this, Kyleah's excuse would always be that the girls had just ate. However, Sophia said that the child's hair felt the same way every time Sophia saw her. In addition to the girls' poor hygiene, Sophia said Kyleah was not so clean with her apartment either. Sophia said the floors felt sticky and the diapers were often reported to be laying throughout the floor. To add, she also mentioned that the child's sleeping crib was always dirty. Sophia said there was never any sheets on the mattress, which she described to be stained. Sophia said she's had other friends who have seen Kyleah's residence in worse condition than the ones mentioned. Sophia stated Kyleah would try her best to clean up when she came around because she was the type of person who would call her out on this. To add, Sophia also mentioned that every time Kyleah would have a new boyfriend, she would rather have them take care of her own kids instead of her. Sophia went on to state that there was a guy named Rock who came into Kyleah's life and was possibly the father of one of the children. Sophia explained that the girls looked healthier and cleaner when Rock was around to help Kyleah take care of them. Sophie told me Rock lived in Arizona but was possibly coming back due to the reported circumstances. When I asked Sophie how Kyleah was as a mother, she said Kyleah had two sides. Sophie said Kyleah would often send her videos of her talking to her children kindly. However, on the other hand, hi Angel Lovelight, Rock has also sent her videos of Kyleah screaming at the girls. Kyleah had severe depression and used to cut herself when she was a kid, said Sophie. Prior to having children, Sophia said Kyleah was always frantic and bipolar. She said having kids normalized her a little bit, but she was still whack. Sophie said Kyleah has always been manic, which has led her to believe she's possibly engaged in drugs. Although Sophie has never witnessed this firsthand, she said Kyleah was hanging out with a male 1 week prior that she knew was involved in the sale of drugs. Sophie identified this person as Garrick McIntosh. Following this meetup at the mall, Sophie said she was unable to see the children in the following month of February. Sophie said Kyleah would either tell her the girls were sick or they were with her parents. However, when Sophie would follow up with Kyleah's parents about the girls, they would tell her that the girls were sick but were in Kyleah's custody. Sophie said approximately 2 weeks ago on 2/13/2025, she mentioned Kyleah, telling her she wanted to see, I guess, the children, right? Kyleah responded they should meet up for a play date, but that day never came. It was also around 2 weeks ago that Sophie had reached out to Kyleah once again, but this time to remind her about a vape pen she forgot in her vehicle from the last time they met up at the mall. Sophie said she drove over to Kyleah's residence to drop it off and found Kyleah was already outside waiting for her. When Sophie inquired about the girls, Kyleah told her they were sick. When Sophie told her she didn't care about getting sick herself, Kyleah quickly said the girls were not there and stated they were at their grandparents'. According to Sophie, Kyleah has told her this before, that Kyleah's parents take her girls every weekend. Sophie stated she knew the girls were with their grandparents on the weekend of February 1st through the 2nd and gave the girls back to Kyleah on the 3rd. After taking the girls back, Sophia said she discovered Kyleah ended up keeping them for 2 weeks straight, to include the weekends. Sophie said they were supposed to be with their grandparents on Valentine's weekend, but for some weird reason, Kyleah insisted she wanted to keep them. Sophia initially stated, and I keep calling her Sophia, I know that, okay? That's her real name, and I just can't get that Sophie in my head, so it's going to go between Sophia and, Sophie initially stated that she was under the impression that the girls had to be with their grandparents with every weekend, but then corrected herself and stated it was supposed to be every other weekend instead. Hence, the girls should have been with the grandparents on Valentine's weekend. However, Kyleah never took them back and told her parents her daughters were sick. And following this statement, Sophie said if the grandparents had the girls would be okay. So Sophie said she did not believe there was a sitter who Kyleah left her kids with, and thought this was a ridiculous statement for her to say. This is regarding KK. Sophie said she saw the social media post Kyleah had shared about not wanting to disclose the sitter's full name. Sophie said if a sitter really left her child to die, there should be no reason for Kyleah not to air out the person's name. When I asked Sophie if she knew who Kyleah's sitter was, she stated she heard Kyleah mention the name Kay. Sophie said she has no idea who this was and advised she's never heard of this person, has never seen this person, nor has she seen this person or any type of on any type of social media platform. These are the reasons, Sophie said, why I don't think this person exists. Sophie said Kyleah probably made this name up because she found her baby dead. Sophie stated she, on the other hand, has had opportunities to watch over the girls before. However, after their disagreements in November of 2024, Sophie said it's been months since she's had to take care of them. It should be noted that I requested for Sophie to send me the photos she had taken of the child while at the mall, to include some of the photos Kyleah had shared with her while Kyleah was in Tri-Cities to my email. However, these photos were sent to the evidence.com link that Detective Salinas had previously sent to Sophie. End of Sophie's interview. Interview with Bradley Johnson. The following is a summary of the information Bradley provided, not verbatim of what was said. Additionally, it should be noted that the information Bradley provided was very scattered. Bradley would often refer to screenshots he took on his phone, and then he said would help him remember some of the dates that were provided. Please refer to the recorded interview. On March 3rd, 2025, at 1600 hours, Bradley Johnson agreed to speak with me about his relationship with Kyleah Tolle. The decision was made after learning Bradley was in Kyleah's vehicle on February 24th, and possibly in contact with her as well. Bradley was escorted to our Special Assault Unit office interview room, where he was told that our conversation would be audio and video recorded. According to Bradley, he met Kyleah through a mutual friend he identified as Alexis Williams in early January 2025. Although things ended in bad terms between him and Alexis, he continued his friendship with Kyleah and saw her again approximately 2 weeks later. Bradley said the two had similar opinions about their relationship with Alexis, which is how the two started talking further. It should be noted that Bradley never admitted to being in a dating relationship with Kyleah and only described their relationship as friends. Bradley was not clear on whether or not he stated constant communication after having met Kyleah, whether in person or on the phone, but said it was February 7th, 2025 at approximately 23:17 hours, when he said he found Kyleah's contact information through conversations he had with Alexis via phone. According to Bradley, can you guys still hear me? It says my internet's unstable. Hopefully you can hear me. Put a 1 up if you can still hear me. I'll take a drink while I'm waiting. Hello, hello. Just let me know. Hello. Can you hear? Tommy, can you hear me? Hello? Tommy, can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Dookie. Okay. So where were we? Bradley said he found Kyleah's contact information through conversations he had with Alexis via phone. According to Bradley, the two started conversing more often via phone. During a conversation he had with Kyleah, she told Bradley she was sick and wasn't feeling well that day. It was then that Bradley first learned Kyleah had 2 kids of her own. Bradley said he offered to help with whatever she needed given the fact she was sick. Bradley said he felt inclined to help due to some of the struggles he faced raising children of his own. Because of this, Bradley said he kept offering this help moving forward. According to Bradley, it was days before the information involving the case came to light, and he remembered asking Kyleah about her kids. To which Kyleah responded she had a friend watching them, whom she identified as K or KK. Who was that? Remember that? Hey KK, no, that was your birthday. But who was the wifey one? Hey KK. No, it was what was that girl's name in that thing? Remember everybody was doing that dance? Sherry? Was it Sherry? Hey Sherry? It's your birthday? No, Sherry's your wifey. I don't know. Don't you remember that thing that went viral? I don't know. It just reminds me of KK. There was a KK. Wasn't there a KK dance? KK? That was your birthday. Okay, I'm losing it. Kyleah told Bradley this friend needed a place to stay. So in return, Kyleah would have her watch the kids. Bradley said Kyleah told him she did this so Kyleah could breathe again and be able to go out and do things with her friends. Kyleah's warrant arrest on 2/24. Bradley said he and Kyleah met up to hang out that night. He said at some point during the night they went to McDonald's drive-thru on Nob Hill Boulevard and 1st Street to get some food, advising they planned to watch a movie right after. However, the police got behind their vehicle and arrested Kyleah on a warrant she had for her arrest. Following her arrest, Bradley said he remained inside Kyleah's vehicle, fearing it would get towed away. Bradley said he contacted his friend Jerry Ells to assist him with transporting Kyleah's vehicle to his temporary residence at the Days Inn Motel. Bradley said the vehicle they were in belonged to Kyleah. Bradley said the vehicle was a grayish SUV and that he and Kyleah were the only ones in the vehicle that night. Bradley said he received a phone call from Kyleah sometime around 1300 hours on 2/24 advising him that she had been ordered. That she had been ordered and was now out of jail. Well, what is that? Ord is something for like bonded out? What is ord? O apostrophe, capital O apostrophe RD. And was now out of jail. Bradley said he used Kyleah's vehicle to go pick her up around 16-20 hours that same day. He said Kyleah was waiting near a brick building that shares the same parking lot with the Yakima County Jail. After picking her up, Kyleah requested to go and buy a coconut berry Red Bull and put gas in her car. Coconut berry Red Bull. Bradley said he drove Kyleah to the AM/PM fuel station at North 1st and East 1st Street to make this purchase, which is when Kyleah traded places with him and took the driver's seat. After leaving AM/PM, they cruised around in Kyleah's vehicle for a couple of hours before he was dropped off at his residence, Days Inn, because Kyleah needed to go talk to her mom. However, Kyleah picked him up later that same night and asked if he would drive her to a location near the fairgrounds, advising she was feeling depressed because her mom had been yelling at her. Bradley said the location was the Circle H trailer park. According to Bradley, Kyleah requested to be dropped off at this location and told Bradley she would call him later to pick her up. Bradley said it was around 22:30 to 2300 hours when he first dropped her off. Following that, Bradley went to the Circle K fuel station to buy a soda, Red Bull, coconut berry, and 2 Milky Way candy bars. The subject, who was seen wearing a green shirt and believed to be driving Kyleah's vehicle during my follow-up at the Circle K, was in fact Bradley Johnson. The above listed information is consistent with what I observed on the video footage. Bradley said he was starting to doze off when Kyleah called him around 1:30 on 2/25/25, requesting he pick her up from her plug's house. What's that? What's the plug? The plug is the dealer? What's the plug? I need the lowdown on the lingo, okay? When Bradley inquired on her plug's location, she told him it was the same place, Circle H, he first dropped her off at. After picking Kyleah up, they went back to his residence to hang out and watch television. I asked Bradley if Kyleah had made any request prior to heading over to his residence, and he stated she did not. Following this response, Bradley said Kyleah had some Coca-Cola, white stuff, in her possession. She even offered to share some of that powder with him. However, Bradley said he chose not to use that powder. Once At his residence, Bradley said he started watching TV as Kyleah walked into the restroom. Bradley said Kyleah was in there for about 25 minutes before she came out sniffling, giving him the impression she probably did a couple of lines of that white. And then Bradley said the two started watching cartoons together till about 4:30, which is when Kyleah told him she's going to leave. Bradley stated he wasn't sure what time Kyleah had returned, but when she did, she was a completely different person. He described her as hysterical and lost for words, advising she couldn't complete her sentences. Bradley said he asked her multiple times to explain what was wrong, but Kyleah kept telling him that she couldn't tell him or speak it out loud. After getting no response from Kyleah, she then asked Bradley if they could leave, and he agreed. Bradley said Kyleah started driving just a few blocks away from his residence the days in before coming to a stop on a road that led to the Mesa apartments, asking Bradley if he could drive instead. After taking the wheel, Bradley started to drive off when he heard Kyleah mention she wanted to kill KK. Bradley said they drove around for a couple of hours trying to figure out what was wrong with Kyleah, but she would not say anything. Kyleah then drove Bradley back to his residence, the Days Inn, after he told her he needed to check on his daughters. Despite offering his assistance once again, Bradley said Kyleah told him, "No, I'll figure it out," and drove out of the parking lot quicker than shite. Okay. Bradley said Kyleah came back complaining to him that her mother had cut off her cell phone line, and that she couldn't get a hold of Kay. Coke and cartoons, yeah. Bradley said he tried calming her down and asked her what was going on, which is when she messaged him, "My daughter is dead." Bradley said he tried to get more information from her, but Kyleah told him that she could not speak it out loud. Although this shocking statement was messaged, Bradley gave the impression Kyleah was with him in person, but could not verbalize the fact that her daughter was deceased. Bradley said he asked where Kay had been staying at, since he was under the impression it was she who was watching over Kyleah's kids. Kyleah responded she did not know. Bradley inquired more information about Kay in regards to what her last name was, or if she had a social media account he could look up. However, Kyleah did not respond and just appeared to be getting frustrated. After providing no response, Kyleah left and stopped answering the phone. Bradley said he didn't think this was true and believed it was just a way for Kyleah to get more attention. Subsequently, all the social media accounts came to light and confirmed this statement to be true. Bradley appeared to show remorse for Kyleah, advising he offered to help her many times before. He was also not a fan of all the things people were saying about Kyleah via social media. At the conclusion of our interview, Bradley said he wanted to show me something on his phone. This was a message from Kyleah to him that she sent on 2/25 at 7:28 hours. The message read, "The child is effing dead. Find Kay and make sure she effing dies." I took a photo of this message using my department-issued phone, which will be uploaded onto evidence.com. In addition to this photo, Bradley willingly agreed to come in and allow us, law enforcement, to download the screenshot messages that were relevant to this case. Detective Gillette assisted with the process and completed the download on 3/7. Bradley signed a consent to search form authorizing this process and was given a copy of it as well. The still photos I took of this screenshot were also uploaded onto evidence.com. As additional information, it should be noted that Bradley stated that his daughter, Desiree, was believed to be with Kyleah in Tri-Cities just days before the incident was discovered. This concludes my portion. Okay, this is from Thomas Priestman. It's his narrative. His assistants began by observing the interview of Kyleah by Detective Michael DeLeon. I observed the interview remotely on my computer. During the interview, Kyleah stated she had left her children in the care of a female named KK. Kyleah did not have any other identifying information for KK, saying she did not know her real first name or last name. Kyleah said KK does not have a phone number and she has no way to contact her directly. Kyleah stated she knows KK is a drug user and gets in touch with her with the assistance of her neighbor who lives behind her, Sirio. Kyleah also stated that KK has a sexual relationship with a male named Everson who lives in the purple apartments across from the green church up the street from her house. Boy, that sounds crazy, doesn't it? She lives in the purple apartments across from the green church up the street from the tangerine-colored house. What was that? It's crazy. There were marmalade. What was it? Marmalade, oceans, and... Okay. Kyleah has limited other information about KK, adding that she believed her first name might be Catherine, and she thinks her last name is Mexican. She described KK as a 30-year-old Hispanic or Native American female. Okay, on 2/26/25, I, along with Detective Beleche, were tasked with attempting to identify and speak with KK. Based on the interview, the apartments where Everson lives was determined to be blah, blah, blah. These apartments used to be purple and are across the street from a green church, as described by Kyleah, though a record search of the Spillman local law enforcement database in Everson Mosquito was found to have a history at the apartment number 2. I, along with Detective Beleche, attempted to contact Everson at Unit 2. Upon our arrival, a male later identified to be Monroe Mosquito answered the door and spoke with us. Monroe stated he is the brother of Everson, and Everson was not home. Everson's not home. I informed Monroe that we are assisting with the investigation of the child death down the street, and Monroe stated that he was aware of what happened. Monroe added his ex-girlfriend, who he identified as Kara Dwarte, used to watch both of the kids. Monroe added at one time Kara lived in the house with Kyleah. I asked if Kara went by a nickname, and Monroe answered no. Everyone calls her Kara or K. I confirmed people call her K, and he replied, yes, K or KK. Is this guy for real? Monroe said Kara previously lived with her sister across the street, and then with Kyleah after she was kicked out of her sister's house. She said Kara watched the kids a lot and would have a lot of knowledge about what occurred in that house. Monroe stated Kara was about 30 years old and was Native American. Monroe added that Kara was currently in jail and had been there for about a month. Prior to leaving, we inquired about Kyleah's neighbor who lived behind her. Monroe stated there was a Sirio who lives behind her, but he believed he moved out. He described Sirio as an ex-gang member and said Kara would also be at the house on occasion, at that house on occasion. With the information provided by Monroe, I researched the Spillman local law enforcement database and located a Kara Jean Dwarte. The record shows she was arrested and incarcerated on 2/4/2025 and was still currently housed in the Yakima County Jail. Of note, the arrest took place after an incident at Safeway and incident residences. Interview with Kyleah Dwarte. On 2/27, I made an appointment with the Yakima County Jail to speak with Kyleah Dwarte. I, along with Detective Shepard, oh boy, let's hope, let's stay stable. Am I still on? I have to take a mic check, mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? I'm interested in this. I hope you guys are interested in this. I'm very interested in what she says. But are you there? Tell me if you can hear me. Tell me if you can hear me. If you can hear me. Hello. There's such a lag. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Booth. Thank you. Okay, so this is the interview with KK. On 2/27, he made an appointment. He went to the jail, right? He met with Kyleah, along with Detective Shepard, in a private room. He informed Kyleah the conversation is going to be recorded, and she stated she understood. I told Kyleah we were investigating an incident that had nothing to do with her incarceration, and she was mentioned as a person who might have information. I asked Kyleah where she was living prior to being arrested, and she stated she'd been living with either her sister or her friend Kyleah before she was arrested. Kyleah stated she met Kyleah around December of 2024, and they became friends. She stated that Kyleah allowed her to come over to her house and stay on occasion, or just get a shower, eat, and get a change of clothes. Kyleah and Kyleah would often leave her. Kyleah said Kyleah would often leave her door open for her to come in, even if she and the kids were not home. On those occasions, Kyleah said she would stay and only get a few things she needed before leaving. Kyleah stated she visited the house once or twice a week and would stay anywhere from 10 minutes to staying over for 2 days. I later asked Kyleah if people call her by a different name, and she said she mostly goes by Kyleah, but she is sometimes called KK. Kyleah confirmed Kyleah does use the name KK for her on occasion. Kyleah stated she believed both of the kids looked healthy when she saw them, but added that the young one was usually wrapped up. She believed the last time she saw Kyleah, the kids, was just before her arrest on the 1st or 2nd of February. Kyleah stated she was there for 15 to 16 hours that day, saying she was mostly asleep. Kyleah stated when she was awake, the kids were mostly in the room, which was normal. Kyleah said Kyleah would bring them food or a bottle and then come back out to be with her. When the kids were out of the room, the younger one would be in the baby seat and the 2-year-old would be in the kitchen or living room. Kyleah stated she only watched the kids on the occasion which occurred a few days after January 20th. Kyleah noted the date because the 20th is her father's birthday, and she watched the kids a few days later. She said Kyleah needed to give a friend a ride to Lions Park by the Buy Mart and asked her to watch the kids for about 15 minutes. Kyleah stated this occurred at night, and both of the kids were asleep, so there were no issues. Kyleah stated Kyleah ended up being gone for about 2 hours. 15 minutes turned into 2 hours. Kyleah stated this was the only time she watched Kyleah's kids. Kyleah noted the house was not in very good condition. Kyleah stated when she visited, she would help Kyleah clean up the house because Kyleah was nice enough to allow her to stay there. Kyleah said there was garbage and clothes everywhere along with poop and pee. She also noted dishes were not clean and there was rotten food in the house. Kyleah stated the apartment was not a proper or safe environment for the kids, noting the excessive amount of cats in the home. She added she saw Kara was more affectionate with the cats than she was with the kids. Kara stated that Kyleah was lacking as a mother. She stated she didn't really hold the baby or the toddler and wasn't keeping a constant eye on them like she should have. Kara noted Kyleah showed a lack of affection towards the kids, and she didn't really see her loving on them. Kara would later add she did not believe the younger child was as developed as she should have been. She said she never saw the baby rolling around or sitting up. Kara noted that her own kids were rolling around at 4 to 6 months, and she knew Kyleah's baby was older and had not met the milestone. Kara stated it did not appear the kids were on any kind of normalized schedule for feeding or sleep. I asked Kara about the drug use in the house, and Kara told me Kyleah likes that Coca-Cola, which I understood to be Coca-Cola, white. She stated she would do Coke almost every time she visited the house. Kara stated she usually had about gram of it, which she used, and was paying for her habit with the money she received from her OnlyFans account. Kara stated that she never came over to the house and found that the kids had been left alone by Kyleah. She also stated on a few occasions when she visited, Kyleah was home and the kids were not. On these occasions, Kyleah told her the kids were with Kyleah's parents for the night. The interview concluded. Now, come on now. Look at that last name. Get out of here. Agema Gashig. Come on. Interview with Rock Ogashig. 2/26/25. I spoke with Rock Ogashig at the Yakima Police Department. Our conversation was audio recorded, and Rock was aware of the recording. I'm glad they're calling this guy Rock. They hardly ever call him. Sometimes they call him, but yeah, and here they are calling him. Most of the times they call these people by their last name. I'm glad it's not. Of note, the Axon audio video equipment was not working correctly, and the recording was taken via my Axon on my phone. Okay. Rock told me that him and Kyleah have been dating on and off for about 5 years. He said that they have broken up and gotten back together twice during that time frame. Rock stated that he was led to believe he was the father of one of the children, which was later proved not to be true, via DNA. Similarly, he was led to believe he was the father of the younger child, which he is still not sure about. Rock stated when they got back together the second time with Kyleah was pregnant with the baby, and he moved into the home. He was unsure of the exact date he resided at that location, but said he moved in with Kyleah. Was about a month pregnant with one of the children and moved out when the child was 3 months old. Based on this information, I later determined that Rock resided at the residence December of 2023 until October of 2024. Rock initially provided a time frame which was different, but also seemed confused about what occurred during which month. What month? I asked Rock what it was like living in the house, and he replied, "It was hell." Rock explained that he was constantly cleaning, taking care of the kids, and taking care of Kyleah. Rock stated nearly all of the household tasks were done by him, with minimal to no help from Kyleah. Rock later stated he changed nearly all of the diapers, got the kids up and dressed in the morning, did all of the cleaning, and planned all of the meals. He stated he initiated almost all of the baths, but strangely, Kyleah would not allow him to bathe the girls. What was that? He presented Kyleah as disconnected, uninvolved, and it appeared to him that Kyleah didn't want to be there. He said he would avoid changing diapers as much as he could. Rock and Kyleah would not get up when the children were crying at night. Rock said Kyleah would not get up when the kids were crying at night. And he was always the one to get up and tend to them. He described they were in a constant battle about issues in the house. I later asked what Kyleah would do while he was taking care of the kids, and Rock stated she mostly just laid in bed on her phone. He later stated any chance she got, she would check out on her phone. Rock said on occasion Kyleah would put in effort and be involved, but these were rare occasions, perhaps once a week. Rock added when she did get involved, she usually flipped out and would stress out about simple things. Rock recalled conversations and arguments that they had where Kyleah stated that one of the children ruined her dreams. He explained that when Kyleah was younger, she wanted to be a NASCAR driver, but getting pregnant with redacted ruined that. Rock stated that after a while, it felt like he had to be there because Kyleah was never fully there and didn't respond well to stress. I asked if Kyleah was affectionate with the kids, and Rock stated he believed Kyleah loved the kids, but described her interactions with them as not overly affectionate. He used the example of buying them clothes and interacting with them as the way she showed affection. He added that she was only affectionate when she felt like she needed to be. Rock stated toward the end of their relationship that Kyleah would leave the house in the late morning and would not return until night. He stated he was unsure where she went or what she was doing. Rock said she would return with bags of makeup and other items. Rock said it was a battle to get information from her about where she was going. He believed she was going to her friend's house and they were going shopping. Rock said in the last days of their relationship, she was gone pretty much every day. Rock said while he was living in the house with Kyleah, he basically didn't leave and was with the kids pretty much every day. Rock stated he was unaware of any time the kids were left alone and said that Kyleah made sure that didn't happen. Rock stated he broke up with Kyleah and moved out of the house after discovering she was likely cheating on him. Rock stated once he moved in with a friend and stayed in contact with Kyleah and her parents. He stated he was told from Kyleah's parents that she had stepped up and that the kids were doing well. Rock stated that he saw the kids a few different times, which included an overnight visit, and they looked well. He stated on occasion that Kyleah would drop off the kids for him to watch and later pick them up. I asked Rock about Kyleah's drug habit. He said so far as he knows, she was sober and clean while together. He stated after their first breakup, he heard she was using coke. He said he never saw her do it and only a few times saw her smoke marijuana. He stated the second time they broke up, there were also rumors about her using the coke. He stated Kyleah began dating a guy named Sawyer, also who is a known coke user in Natchez. He stated people began talking about how erratic she had become after the breakup. Rock said he confronted her about it, and she denied using that powdery stuff. Rock said he initially believed her, but over the next few weeks, He began to also notice her erratic behavior and her sunken eyes. Yeah, NASCAR. She could have been a contender. Rock stated they had a dog while living at the house, and sometime after he moved out, he heard that Kyleah let the dog starve to death. Wow. Rock stated that he talked to Kyleah about it, and she told him that she had paid someone to watch the dog while she was at her parents' house. In January, Rock decided to move to Montana. While in Montana, he kept in contact with Kyleah and with Kyleah's family, and they reported the kids were doing well. He learned Kyleah was in counseling, and the kids were in daycare. Rock stated that he and Kyleah were talking about getting back together and invited Kyleah and the kids to move to Montana when he had an established place. And not long after, he learned the news about the baby, passing away. I asked Rock what he thinks happened, and Rock became emotional and said he believes Kyleah snapped. He added he doesn't find it hard for him to believe that she just walked out and never came back. Rock says he doesn't want that to be true. I asked Rock if he thought she wanted to be a mom, and he said no. I asked if he thought it was hard for her to be a mom, and he said yeah. The interview concluded shortly after. Okay, here's Erin Levy's narrative. Okay, she said that during the first call, okay, let me see what we got here. On 2/25/25, approximately 7:24 hours, officers were dispatched to Kyleah's house. The 911 caller claimed that her baby had died and was at this location. Okay, then we have the toddler was transported to the Yakima Memorial Hospital, and the deceased baby was identified. The mother of the children and 911 caller was identified as Kyleah Tolle. She was not located, and her whereabouts were unknown. And after checking Kyleah and Spellman, it was discovered that Kyleah had been arrested on 2/24, 1:30 hours, and on an outstanding warrant. Detective Salinas had requested jail phone calls placed by Kyleah, and 3 phone calls were located. Kyleah had called the phone number, blah, 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 and cross-checking the number in Spillman, it returned to an Emma Braun's. Isn't that Hitler's? Emma Braun? Isn't that Hitler's mistress? Wow, these names are incredible, right? Okay. During the first call, Kyleah immediately tells Emma she needs out. She needs out now. Emma puts her on hold so she can call her dad. Kyleah tells her that her bail is $500, and Emma tells her that it will be okay and that they will get her out. Kyleah again repeats that she needs out. Kyleah says she was arrested on a warrant for missing court. Emma tells Kyleah about her kids, and Kyleah tells Emma they are at a friend's house. Emma again asks if she had her kids with her, and Kyleah states, "They're at my friend's house waiting. I have to get back." Emma asks her if she has talked to her mom, and Kyleah states, "I cannot get my parents involved right now." Emma tells her to call her mom to go to pick up the kids. Kyleah says no. Kyleah tells Emma that she hopes her car is still at McDonald's and that Desiree's dad was with her in the car when she was arrested. Emma tells Kyleah that she will bail her out, and the call ends. The next 2 calls are extremely short. Kyleah is just asking about getting out of jail. On 2/26/2025, I called and left a message for Emma to call me back. Several minutes later, I received a 3-way call from Emma and her mom, Patricia Davis. Patty Davis. Emma told me it is close, right? Yeah, I know. Emma Braun, right? Isn't it? Okay. It's crazy. Emma told me that she wanted her mom on the line because she was worried to call me. Patricia also stated she received a Facebook voice message from Kyleah on 2/25. Hey, Scott. The Nancy news is in the beginning, Scott. It's pretty frosty, okay? It's pretty frosty. Right now we're in a new case of this Kyleah Tolle. Yeah. Okay. I still don't know where Ken, my joke man, is. So let me see here. As we were talking, it was decided that Emma and Patricia would come down to the station for an interview. Emma stated that it would take her a couple of hours to get to Yakima because she was currently in the Tri-Cities. After waiting for several hours, I called Patricia, who informed me Emma still had not left the Tri-Cities, but she would head down to the police station. Patty, Patricia, Davis arrived at the SAU building, where I took her into the recorded interview room. Patty gave me permission to record our conversation. Patty told me she had received a voicemail from Kyleah. Patty said she had only met Kyleah on one occasion prior, and that was right after the baby was born and was probably a week old. Patty described them as looking really good. Patty stated that yesterday, 2/25/25, at around 1 p.m., she noticed that Emma had tried to call her, and when she called her back, Emma told her that her friend Kyleah's baby was dead. Patty then stated that she was told by Emma that Kyleah was pulled over and arrested, and that the officer allowed the girl she was with to take her kids, and that the baby is dead. Patty questioned the story because it didn't add up to her. Patty was told that Kay, the girl, handed her the car seat with the baby in it, and Kyleah did not notice that the baby was dead. Patty again questioned what she was being told because it didn't add up. At this point, a three-way call was conducted by Emma to include Kyleah and Patty. Emma told Kyleah to tell her mom what happened, but Kyleah refused. Patty asked Kyleah where her children were, and Kyleah told her that the baby was dead. Patty said that she directly asked Kyleah where the deceased child was, and Kyleah told her, "I don't know." Patty thought that Kyleah had the older child with her, so Patty told her to bring the child. It was determined that Kyleah did not currently have the child with her. Patty said that it was hard to understand what Kyleah was saying because Kyleah was crying, talking rapidly, and was all over the place. Patty said that Kyleah again said the baby was dead and that she had run out on the little girl. Once Patty felt comfortable that Kyleah did not have the kids with her, she hung up on the call. Patty said that after the phone call ended, she noticed a message on her phone. The message was 9 minutes long and was left on Facebook Messenger. Patty had expressed to me that she did not want to listen to the message again. She allowed me to take her phone, and I recorded the uploaded the message. When I was clarifying with Patty about what she had told me, I learned that when Emma had called her with Kyleah, Emma and Kyleah were not together. Emma was in Walla Walla with her boyfriend when she received the call from Kyleah about the baby, and this was when Emma three-way called Patty and Kyleah. Oh, it was Ava Braun, right? It was Ava Braun. Sorry. See? It comes back to me, so I'm not really totally losing my mind. All right, so where was I? She was at the Walla Walla with her boyfriend when she received the call from Kyleah about the baby. That was when Emma three-way called Patty and Kyleah. Patty again stated that Kyleah told her she had been pulled over, and the police officer, the police officer released the children and Carter K. Patty said she didn't think that sounded right. Patty said that Kyleah told her that when she got out of jail and Kay handed her the car seat, she didn't realize until later that the baby was dead. Patty said that she received a message from Linnea Kelsey, who claimed to be the grandmother of the child. Linnea was trying to get information on what happened. Linnea told Patty that her daughter had run into Kyleah, and Kyleah had told her daughter that she killed her baby. Linnea's daughter did not say anything because she thought Kyleah was high. I took pictures of the message. By the end of our conversation, Emma still had not arrived. Patty called her, and she still had not left the Tri-Cities. Emma said she would be coming to Yakima later in the evening and would spend the night. We scheduled an appointment for 11 on 2/27. On 2/27 at 15:05 hours, Emma arrived at the SAU building. I brought her back to the interview room, and I received permission to record our interview. Emma stated that she had met Kyleah on Facebook, and they became friends after texting back and forth. Emma said they started exchanging messages on September 16th of 2024. 2 days after they started texting, Emma said she moved into the house on 4th Avenue with Kyleah due to a difficult living situation at her house. Emma ended up moving out on September 26th, 2024. Emma stated that Kyleah and her boyfriend Rock had gotten into a fight, and Kyleah locked him out of the house. Emma said she went outside to give Rock a ride to his mom's house, and Emma stated that they ended up driving around because it was 2 a.m. and they thought it was too early to drop him off. She said that after about 2 hours, she ended up dropping Rock off. I asked her if Kyleah was upset over this, and she said that Kyleah was upset because Kyleah ended up driving to Rock's mom's house and found Emma's car was there, but Emma and Rock were not. Emma stated that this was the last day that both Rock and herself lived with Kyleah. I asked Emma what the living conditions were like when she lived there, and she described it as cluttered. She said it was more like a teenager living there. Emma mentioned that she had been in a lot of bad houses with roaches and bedbugs, but she would not describe Kyleah as such. Emma talked about the issues she was having with Kyleah about getting her stuff back from the house, and Emma said that after she moved out, they briefly talked on November 4th and January 16th of 2024. Oh, he's got the date wrong there. That should be November 4th of 2023. About Emma getting her things back. Then on what has he got? He's got the January date wrong. 2025. Okay. Then on February 21st, 2025, Kyleah called her. Emma was taken aback by the call because she had not heard from her, so Emma responded with a question mark. Kyleah asked Emma if she was in the Tri-Cities because she had her boots and wanted to have a chat with Emma. Emma said that the message came in at 11 p.m. and they planned to meet at the South Hill Plaza, but when Kyleah could not find a location to meet at South Hill Plaza, they decided to meet at Clover Island. Emma said she finally met up with Kyleah. Hold on one second. At Clover Island at about 1:53 a.m. Okay. Emma said that when she pulled up to this location, Kyleah got into the passenger side of the vehicle with her boots. She said that Kyleah told her that her boyfriend was in the car and she didn't want to leave him. Kyleah then got back into her own vehicle, and Emma sent a text to her asking if they wanted to go and hang out at her homegirl's crib. Emma stated that Kyleah's boyfriend wanted to drink and thought that this would be a safe environment to hang out. When I asked Emma what Kyleah's boyfriend's name was, she stated it started with, is this a joke? When I asked Emma what Kyleah's boyfriend's name was, she thought it started with Kendrick. That it started with Kendrick? Yeah, you know, that's a letter J, Kendrick, LMNOP. You know, Kendrick. How do you spell kite? Kendrick, I-T-E. How do you spell knight? Like a knight that rides on a horse. Oh, Kendrick, N-I-G-H-T. There's a joke? Oh my gosh. Sorry, this is just crazy. Okay. Okay, she said she thought it started with Kendrick, but she wasn't 100% sure. Emma said that they all went to the friend's house after she parked her car at a nearby gas station. I asked Emma what the time frame was that they were at a friend's house, and she said that she would pull up her Life 360 to check. Emma showed me the Life 360, and it showed that they were at Cameron's house between 2:05 and 5:36 a.m. And when they left this location, Emma said that Kyleah wanted to go to her friend Melly's house to make bracelets, which Emma did not want to do. Emma was going to extend an invitation to Kyleah to stay at her dad's house. I asked directly what they ended up doing after they left Cameron's house. She said they went back to her car and they went back to Yoki's Fresh Market. And then they went to the coffee shop for 30 minutes. As I was talking to Emma about what they did, she was all over the place with information. You think? She's a girl that says it starts with Kendrick. His name starts with Kendrick. You think she's all over the place? Wow. I asked if she knew when Kyleah finally left the Tri-Cities to go back to Yakima. Emma started to look on her phone, and then she got distracted and talked about something else. I asked her when she was with Kyleah on Saturday, the 22nd. And she said she was with Kyleah all morning Saturday, the 22nd, until about 3 p.m. Emma stated that they had texted back and forth at 9:07 p.m. on Saturday night, 2/22/2025, about hooking up. They met up at the Queens Gate Walmart. I asked her how long they ended up hanging out that night, and she did not answer. She said Kyleah's boyfriend ended up leaving a sweatshirt at Cameron's house, and they were going to grab it. But Cameron was already asleep. They all ended up going up to the Yoki's gas station. Thought the Yoki's was a food mart, fresh market. Emma gave Kyleah's boyfriend her card to get gas. But he ended up getting into some sort of altercation with the gas attendant. Emma said that apparently Kyleah was doing donuts in the parking lot and that the attendant told them he was calling the police. What? Emma said that after the altercation, Kyleah and her boyfriend pulled up next to her and told her to dip out because the police were on their way. They both parted ways separately after they pulled... Where am I? After they pulled... Where are we here? After they pulled away, Emma called Kyleah on the phone to yell at her for her actions at the gas station. And after they talked on the phone, that is when Kyleah headed back to Yakima. I asked her if she could tell me what time that was, and Emma said that she placed that call to Kyleah at 2:10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Emma told me that when Kylia was in the Tri-City, she said that her mom was watching the kids. I then went over the time frame, that Kylia was in the Tri-Cities. To confirm I had accurate information, I confirmed that Emma received a message to meet up with Kylia at 11:09 p.m. on Friday night, the 21st of February. And Kylia was in the Tri-Cities until 2:10 Sunday morning, the 23rd of February. Kylia also told Emma that her kids were with Kylia's mom, which Emma confirmed. I then asked her about the phone call she received from Kylia after Kylia had been arrested. Emma talks about when she was arrested, she was with Desi's dad. I asked Emma if she knew who Desi's dad was, and she said she did not. Emma said that she could get me the information on who that would be. On who Des is. She said that Des is dating some guy named Sawyer. I asked Emma if she knew why Kylia would be with Des's dad, and Emma said that she thought it was weird. Emma said that she was going to try and bail Kylia out, but figured that she'd be ordered anywhere. Emma, is that on her own recognizance? Is that what that's an abbreviation for? Emma stated that she did not think that Kylia's kids would be home alone. Emma also brought up the fact that Kylia stated on the call that she needed to go and pick up the kids from her friend's house. Emma was not aware of any babysitters. I asked her when the last time she saw the kids was. She said the night they moved out in September of 2024. I asked Emma when she heard from Kylia after Kylia got out of jail, and Emma was slightly confused on the chain of events leading up to the children being discovered. Emma said that she had received messages from Kylia that things were not adding up. Emma said that Kylia's message was at 10:51 a.m. on Tuesday, the 25th of February, and the message stated, Kay was left with the kids, and I walked in on the baby effing dead. I'm home from jail. Kylia then left 2 messages at 10-something that lasted 38 seconds, and the other 10:55, and the messages were Kylia rambling, crying, and screaming. Emma was under the impression that the kids were left with a friend, and when Kylia got out of jail, her friend did not take care of the baby, and the baby died. Emma then stated that when Kylia was on the phone with her and her mom, Kylia said the kids were with a friend, and when the friend handed the baby over in the baby carrier, she acted like the baby wasn't dead, but when Kylia grabbed the baby was cold and wet. Okay. Emma then stated she remembered a conversation she had with Kylia on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Emma said that out of the blue, Kylia said she had to go pick up her babies, and Emma told her it was so late and that she should just let them be. Emma confirmed with Kylia that the kids were there, that the kids were with her mom, and Kylia told her yes. Emma again told her the kids were fine and that she should just leave them with her mom for the night. This ended our interview, and Emma stated that she would try and get information on Des's father. I provided her with a business card with my phone numbers and email. On 3/4/25, I had yet to hear from Emma about Des's dad's information, so I sent her a text message. Emma responded that she was going to make a couple of calls and would get back to me. Several minutes later, I received a text that stated, Desiree Robinson's dad is Bradley James. Okay. Emma then advised me that she had located a voice message that Kylia had left for her when she was arrested on the 25th of February. She wanted to know if I wanted to hear it. I told her that I did. Emma said that she was in town and could swing by, so I could listen and get a copy of it. Approximately 16:20, Emma arrived at the SAU office, and this message was from 2:25 at 13:35, and Kyleah said that she had left the kids with the babysitter. She talks about hearing the baby crying, but did not check on her, and just went to McDonald's to get her fries. Maybe that's the toddler they're talking about. She said that when she was arrested and something in jail, she had a really bad feeling about her babies, and when she got home after getting out of jail, something which she was sleeping, and then when she went over to the baby, she's wet and cold and dead. And I tried my hardest, pushed me too far, but I wanted to hold my baby, and she was wet and slimy. She said that she screamed, and so I just run out. I run out, I leave. She said that she heard, I guess, the toddler crying, but could not go back in. She said she tried to do an online report, but it wouldn't work. Kyleah said that morning, 2:25, she made a text now number and called the Yakima police. Kyleah said that she was driving around trying to convince herself not to run into a hit, just wanting to be with the baby. Kyleah then stated she couldn't think about the other one because it was stuck in her head about being a bad mother and having a dead child. Kyleah said, I'm not thinking about the other one because I feel like a piece of shite mother already, okay? So I'm trying to do a favor for that child by leaving. Kyleah then goes into a rant about needing her baby and why did you leave my babies, and I just needed some fun teenage times. Kyleah states she wants to get back so they can be car buddies and go and do whatever they want. She says that there was a reason they were staying at home because her mom was calling her a bad mother for not leaving them, taking them out, and running around with them at 10 p.m. at night. Kyleah then starts blaming Kay again for not watching the babies when she left them with Kyleah. When she left them with her, Kyleah says that she understands that she is the root cause of the issue, but it was a homicide and that she left my babies. Kyleah believes that Sam will help her with CPS and talking to her mom. I took a recording of this message. Emma received several calls in the middle, but was able to get it to the spot where we left off. The recording was uploaded to the Axon. On March 6th, I contacted Jackie Quintana, who's a paralegal with the Victim Witness Unit, the Yakima County Prosecutor's Office. I inquired if Kyleah had placed any phone calls from jail since being booked on 2/25. Jackie Quintana is an authorized user for the Yakima County Jail's recorded inmate line telephone system, Securus, and she is able to search for completed calls by a specific inmate and or by calls by a specific number. I was advised that there were 3 phone calls that Kyleah made since being in jail. It should be noted that before any jail call is allowed to be completed, the inmate, caller, and the call recipient are warned that their call is being recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. The first call was to Luis Garcia. This call's only a minute. When the call is answered, it sounds like the male who answers the call says, "You've got to be effing kidding me." Then the call ends. The next call is to Blair Quinnell. That's her mother. That's Kyleah's mother. In this call, Kyleah is mostly talking about religion and visitation. At about minute 9, Blair makes a statement to Kyleah that she just does not understand why she wouldn't call or give them the girls. And Kyleah's response was, "I don't know." Blair then states she remembers talking specifically to her. Blair then states that she remembers talking to her, specifically asking, "You're not just locking these girls in their room, are you?" And Kyleah's response was, "No." Blair then states, I don't understand why you could ever leave them alone like that. Kyleah's response, I don't know. Kyleah says she can't say anything about the legal situation. But there was more involved. As the call was ending, Blair explained that she would not be able to make visitation. Kyleah then makes a request to change a name to something else. I'm not sure if this is exactly what she said, but it sounded close to this. The third calls to Blair. There's nothing of importance, and Kyleah talks to both mom and dad. This is Ileana Salinas. Detective Ileana Salinas was advised that officers were dispatched to that address, I was informed of a call to the SAU unit. Detective Priestman, who was in the office, I received the call comments. The call was placed to a back line. Okay, so this was a welfare check. We know all that, right? Officers arrived on the scene, found the front door unlocked. Upon arriving, officers were securing the scene with crime scene tape. I observed Officer Davis standing at the front door. This was a duplex, Unit B, was the north apartment. It should be noted I did not make entry into the apartment while I was at the scene. I observed AMR ambulance driving away from the residence. I was informed that Officer Batchmeyer carried a baby from the residence to the ambulance, and the child appeared to be malnourished. However, I was not able to see the baby before the ambulance left. Sergeant Durbin briefed the arriving detectives of what they discovered. Durbin advised that they made entry under exigent circumstances and they observed a baby on the floor. That wasn't true. And an unresponsive baby inside a bassinet. It was obvious the baby was deceased. I was informed that the mother called in the welfare check and fled the residence before police arrived. The children were left alone with nobody to care for them, and I was tasked with going to the hospital with Officer Shademan. At approximately 8:30 hours, I arrived at the Yakima Valley Memorial Hospital. I met with Officer Shademan. He escorted me to the room where the 2-year-old female toddler was being medically treated. When I entered the room, I could smell a strong and overpowering odor of urine in the hospital room. At the time of my arrival, the children had not yet been identified. Memorial Hospital ER Dr. Padilla, RN Leah Van Dyke, and other nurses provided medical care to the child. I provided Dr. Padilla with a little information that I obtained from the scene. I told him that we were still trying to identify the children. I looked at the toddler, who appeared scared. She fussed slightly as the nurses manipulated her arms and legs to her emaciated body to examine her. Her oral hygiene was terrible. The child was slightly open her mouth and exposed her teeth, which had severe plaque accumulation. She appeared weak as she moved slowly around the hospital bed. The zip-up onesie was partially removed. She was wearing a diaper underneath the onesie. The child's eyes were sunken in with a greenish mucus around her eyes. The same mucus was transferred to the child's hair near her temples as if it had dripped into the hair at some point and crusted. She was extremely thin, with her ribs protruding underneath the skin and her spine also protruding. Her lower abdomen was also concave with skin sagging on the stomach from the lack of subcutaneous fat and muscle that a child of that age should have. The child's skin under the armpit and on the triceps was also lacking muscle, exposing sagging skin. The inner left leg had blistering marks and a brown stain. I didn't know if this was a brown stain from fecal matter or from a blister that was beginning to change the pigment on the skin. I noticed a bruise on her inner right leg beside her right knee. The bruise didn't alarm me, as she was at the age where bruises in that area are common for children who walk, run, and crawl. I did not see any bruises or marks on her body. The nurses removed her diaper that was extremely soiled. The diaper had brown stains on it from several bowel movements the child had where the diaper was never changed. The child also urinated in the diaper, and the buildup of this waste made the diaper heavy, causing it to leak out of the sides, front, and the back. Diaper was removed, and the buttocks were covered in blisters and sores. There was redness on the buttocks, inner thighs, and the genitals. I know from my training and experience that the redness, sores, and blisters are likely caused from the acidic bowels and urine that remained in contact with her skin for a significant period of time, which likely burned the skin. There was one open bleeding sore the size of a dime in the inner left fold of her buttocks, and when the nurse cleaned the baby, she fussed in discomfort and clenched her little mouth in pain. When she did this, I could see the plaque-covered teeth. I observed the front of her genitals. This child's thing was partially covered in a large blister or scab. Oh my gosh. Surrounded by severe redness. The child weighed 16.3 pounds. Based on my training and experience, this is an abnormally low weight for a 2-year-old child. I provided Dr. Padilla and the nurses with the name of the mother, Kyleah Rose. I asked them if they could check their system, if it was possible the children were born at the Yakima Valley Memorial Hospital. Several minutes later, nurses provided me with the names of the children. By the time I received this information, patrol officers and detectives had identified the children through their own investigation. While at the hospital, Child Protective Services arrived. Social worker Edgar Estrada and Madeline Renner detailed the ED. I learned from Edgar that he had an open case with the mother. Yeah, bang up job, Ed. I was informed when they conducted a check of the home, the house was clean with food in the refrigerator. The CPS worker did give Kyleah cleaning supplies, however. They offered her a food card, but she declined the food card. I asked Edgar when the last time he saw the children, and Edgar stated it had been 3 to 4 weeks since he saw the kids, and that he appeared fine. He did not find anything concerning with the kids at that moment. Edgar did not have a pediatric doctor information at that time. While at the hospital, I asked the hospital staff to restrict visitors for the child due to her mother fleeing the scene and not knowing what her involvement might be, as this type of behavior is not a normal response to a situation such as this. The mother's whereabouts were unknown at the time, and I had concerns that the mother would seek out the child at the hospital. Dr. Edgar then took over the care of the child and was given The child was given a liquid to drink. The child quickly guzzled the liquid, and she appeared extremely thirsty based on the urgency to drink the liquid. Dr. Edgar felt confident that the child would remain in their care at Memorial Hospital. I provided the hospital with my contact information in the event that the child's condition worsened or changed in any way. Officer Shademan and I left the hospital. I detailed my office to meet with the other officers and detectives, and I was informed that the maternal grandparents were on their way to the Yakima Police Department. Prior to their arrival, I requested a copy of the 911 call that was placed by the mother. Upon receiving the call, I reviewed it from my office. The call was answered, communications. I hear a female in a low voice say that she needed someone to go to her house. The call taker asked her where she was. The female responds, but it's inaudible. The female is breathing, short, fast breaths. It sounds like she's crying. The call taker tells the female it's okay. The female says, no, it's not. No, it's effing not. The caller says she needs officers to go to her effing house and says the address. She cries, my babies. The call taker asks for her address again. The female makes a comment that she's going to take her own life right now and that she can't live with herself after this. The female screams into the phone. The call taker asks her for her name. The caller makes a comment about there was nobody home, and then later makes a comment about trusting a woman, KK, to watch my kids. The caller says she's been sick and may be dying, and now she is dying. The caller tells the call taker her other daughter and didn't know if she is dead or alive. The call taker asks her what their name is, and through the crying she says Kyleah. The caller then tells the call taker something about the woman's stuff is under the sewing machine. The caller is crying hysterically and says she can't live anymore. The caller says she's driving off the road to take her life. She then identifies herself as Kyleah. The caller says she doesn't effing matter. She makes a comment about her girls and being alive. Kyleah was crying until the call is terminated. A copy of the call has been attached. Interview with Kyleah's father, Kelly Quinnell. Okay, I'm going to get a drink here. Okay. I think we're going to read this interview and then play the word game and call it a night. I think so, because it just turned. Look at the time just turned. Time just turned to 3 o'clock. We just sprung ahead, folks. We're in the spring. We made it through the winter. Almost, right? Like 18 feet of snow here. I interviewed the grandfather, Kelly Quinnell, at the Yakima Police Department. Kelly's wife, Blair, arrived shortly after and was interviewed by Detective Ion and Detective Gronwald. I escorted Kelly to an interview room. Nobody else was present. I activated the Axon video recorder and my digital audio recorder. I informed Kelly that I'd be recording the interview. I told Kelly that the toddler was admitted into the hospital and would be there for a few days. I confirmed with him that they had been to the doctor's office on Friday. He stated, "That's what we were told." Kelly advised they would have seen Dr. Edgerly at the Assurance Healthcare. Kelly advised he saw Kyleah and the two girls. Kelly stated he didn't know that they had an appointment scheduled, but it was Kyleah who told him she went to the doctor's office. I asked Kelly who the biological father was. Kelly couldn't remember the name. I asked him if the name Rocky or Rock sounded familiar. He stated Rock was the father of the baby, and he lived in Helena, Montana, where he's been for the last few months. Kelly didn't know the toddler's biological father, but his parents lived on South 18th Street and East Nob Hill Boulevard. Kelly stated Rock moved to Montana 2 to 3 months ago. I asked Kelly what Kyleah's living situation had been like, and I asked him if Kyleah and the kids ever lived with him. He stated no. Kelly said she's lived in the apartment for almost 3 years. Kelly proceeded to tell me that he and his wife adopted Kyleah when she was 2.5 years old, but they had her before she was a year old. Kelly advised that they had a close friend who they were trying to help. They had temporary custody of Kyleah, and then the father left the scene, and after a year the biological mother asked Kelly and his wife to adopt Kyleah. Kelly said they weren't looking to adopt, but it happened. Kyleah is their only child. I informed Kelly and his wife I confirmed that Kelly and his wife co-signed for the apartment. He stated yes. I asked him if Kyleah's ever had help or a roommate living with her. Kelly stated Rock was the only person who actually lived with her. Kelly said a variety of people have stayed there, however. He and his wife have told her it was never a good idea to invite whoever into her home. I asked Kelly if Kyleah ever left the children in other people's care. He said he only knew of her doing this for brief periods of time. For example, going to the store. Kelly then proceeded to tell me, up until Kyleah was 8 or 9 years old, that she was the ideal child. He stated ever since that age, she has been a different person. He stated something clicked and something neurological happened with her, but nobody knew what. When Kyleah was conceived, her parents were using methamphetamines, and doctors warned them something could happen down the road. Kelly believes they've been dealing with that. He brought it up because he never knows when she's telling the truth. I asked him what she lies about. Kelly said everything, and you have to assume everything she's telling you is a lie. And Kyleah was highly manipulative. I asked Kelly if she had anyone staying with her this last week, maybe a best friend or someone who she relies on. Kelly said Kyleah did have someone staying with her over the weekend, but that person left before he got there on Sunday. Kelly didn't know who the person was because when she said the name, he never heard it. When he got there, Kyleah had some weird makeup on. Kyleah said a friend did her makeup. Kelly never saw this friend. Kyleah told him that her friend was being picked up at 7:30 p.m. because that was the only time that the friend's mom could pick her up. I asked Kelly if he saw the children that day. He stated no, and advised the kids had already gone to bed. I asked Kelly if the name K or KK sounded familiar to him, and he stated no. I asked Kelly if Kyleah was the type of person who would leave her children in the care of someone she didn't trust. Kelly said she was the type of person who would do that and think was okay. He stated if there was something she selfishly wanted to do, then she'd do that. He said she considered a person that she's known for 2 days a good person. I asked Kelly if Kyleah had gone anywhere this weekend or if she'd been gone for the last week. Kelly stated Kyleah had the 360 app on her phone, but her wife would have that information. Kelly said he knew that Kyleah spent a lot of time in M's place in Salai on Dusty Puddle Road in Salai. I asked him if she took the kids with her. He said that she has taken the kids with her. I asked him if she'd leave the kids home by themselves. Kelly didn't think she would leave them home by themselves, but she's capable of anything. Kelly said if she selfishly wanted to go do something with someone, he wouldn't put it past her. Kelly said, we do not trust our daughter at all. Kelly advised that they have been very involved with their grandkids. I asked him about the last time he actually had eyes on the children. Kelly said they have been having them every other weekend since, I guess the baby was born or the toddler, I don't know. Kelly said he hasn't seen them for about 4 weeks, however. Kelly said they were supposed to have them on Valentine's weekend, but Kyleah wanted to keep them because she wanted to do some things with them for Valentine's Day. Kelly said Kyleah had plans with them the whole weekend. Kelly said it had been that long since he saw them. The last time he saw them was about 10 days ago at the apartment. Kelly said that the child was in the kitchen eating. He had dropped off some groceries. I asked him if he dropped groceries off often. Kelly said he did it every once in a while. Kylia told him that she and the kids had been sick, and so what just wasn't getting out. The kids also hadn't been to daycare because they were so sick. The daycare was at Jane's house on West Nob Hill Road Boulevard. I asked Kelly if the kids had a pediatrician they saw regularly. Kelly advised they saw Dr. Edgarly. I then asked Kelly how CPS got involved in Kyleah's life. I asked if it was just one time or several. Kelly said it was 3 times. Kelly admitted to being responsible for one report to CPS. He advised the current case was the one they called. I asked him what he knew about the other referrals. He stated he didn't know the specific complaint on the first 2, other than concerns about the safety of the children. He did not know who called them in. Kelly said, hold on one second. Kelly said the one CPS report currently open was from him and his wife. Kelly said it's been a battle with his daughter to clean the house and making it safe and healthy, especially for a 2-year-old walking around. He said enough was enough, and he figured if they, being her parents, called CPS, then they'd take it more seriously. Kelly said, I'm so upset with CPS right now. He said when they called it in, they told CPS that they were her parents and were extremely concerned. Kelly advised the house was so awful that his wife hired a cleaning company to clean the apartment. I asked Kelly what was unsafe about it. He said that there was filth everywhere. Kelly said there was cat feces everywhere, old food, and dirty diapers. Kelly said that there were no safe locks on the cabinets. He said these girls were in jeopardy. He was so upset with CPS because they met with the CPS caseworker who told him that he'd gone to the apartment and told him there wasn't much he could do because he'd gone to the apartment and considered that a low-risk situation. Kelly said he asked, what in the world is going to make this a high-risk situation till one dies? Kelly said he told the caseworker he couldn't believe he was going to treat this the way he was going to treat it. He asked, why did we even call you? Kelly stated, and here we are, and the worst thing possible has happened now. And if those children would have been taken away from her because they were in an unsafe, terrible situation, I asked Kelly if he ever saw anything concerning with the children, and Kelly said the only thing concerning they saw is when they had them on the weekend was the diaper rash, especially on one child. Kelly said they would treat it, and then by the end of the weekend it was almost cleared up and under control. He said it was horrific, like open bleeding, horrific. They even bought her some ointment to use for the baby and told her she needed to use it. I asked Kelly about their physical appearance, such as chunky or on the thinner side, and Kelly said they always looked fine health-wise and slept well. I asked him, it should be, how Kyleah was with the kids or neglected to feed the kids. He said he's never seen that, but was guessing there was times because Kyleah is completely selfish and motivated. I think he means unmotivated. He said she puts herself before anything else in life, including her children, and that was explained to CPS. I told Kelly that it sounded like his wife talked to Kyleah this morning and asked him if he talked to Kyleah this morning. He stated no. I asked him if his wife told him what Kyleah said to her. He said it was around 7:30 when Kyleah called his wife and his wife was working. Kelly said he only remembers his wife telling him that she wanted her mom to tell her that she loved her. Blair told her that this didn't have anything to do whether they... Kelly said he only remembers his wife telling him that she wanted her mom to tell her that she loved her. Blair told her this didn't have anything to do with whether they loved her, and they always loved her, and it had everything to do with her actions and her behavior that she is not addressing, and they were genuinely concerned for their grandkids. Kelly said they've been telling her this for a long time. I asked him if Kyleah said anything about the grandkids this morning, and he said no. Kelly said he became concerned when he heard about the 911 call and that Kyleah wanted someone to do a welfare check on the girls. I asked him if he knew if she was at the residence this morning. Kelly didn't know and said her phone number, hold on a minute, was off and that they couldn't track her on the 360. Kelly said the phone call this morning was not on her phone but on Emily's phone. I asked him if he had that number. He gave it to the police. Kelly advised Emily was the one on the Dusty Puddle Road in Celaya. I asked Kelly if Kyleah used drugs. He said he knew that she used marijuana and alcohol in the past. He didn't know if she was using anything else, but her physical appearance is that of someone on drugs. I asked him where she made money. Kelly said she doesn't work. Kelly said he and his wife have been paying the rent because Kyleah hasn't paid rent since August. I told Kelly that we haven't located Kyleah, and Kelly asked if the baby died from malnutrition. I told him that I didn't know, but informed him that his other granddaughter was malnourished, and that he was going to see when he got to, and that's what he was going to see when he got to the hospital. I told him I didn't see the baby, so I couldn't tell him. Kelly inquired if there were any signs of abuse. I told him no. Are you joking? The whole house is abuse. The open window is abuse. Leaving the kids alone is abuse. He didn't see any abuse. I know he's talking about physical marks, but come on. Kelly advised that they love their daughter, but if she's responsible for this, she needs to be arrested. I asked Kelly if Kyleah was suicidal. He stated that she hasn't attempted it, but she's mentioned it before and she's cut herself. Kelly advised that they'd taken her to 3 different counselors and 1 psychiatrist, but they couldn't help her because she never gave anyone the entire truth. She was prescribed ADHD medication, but Kelly said she wasn't ADHD. Kelly said recently she had appointments with Central Washington Mental Health but hasn't shown up. Kelly said he only knows this because she's told him. Kelly provided vehicle information for Kylie's current vehicle. He gave me the license plate, Washington State. The information was disseminated. Kelly knew that Kyleah hadn't taken the children to daycare for the last 2 weeks because they were sick. Kelly said Kyleah told him that she received antibiotics for her, but the doctor said the kids were fine and they could return to daycare. He advised Blair got upset with Kyleah and told Kyleah to call her. Blair was upset with Kyleah because she knew from tracking Kyleah's 360 app, can't believe Kyleah let them put a 360 app on her, that Kyleah hadn't done a thing all day. Kelly believed the 360 app showed Kyleah home all day yesterday. Kelly said it wasn't a pleasant conversation, and Kyleah ended up hanging up on Blair. Kelly said Blair was very angry at Kyleah and really let her have it. The phone call plays to Blair last night from Kyleah's phone, but this morning it was from Emily's phone. The interview ended with Kelly at that time. Kelly waited for his wife as she was still being interviewed. About 15 minutes later, she was escorted back to the SAU office to be reunited with her husband. They both declined a Yakima Police Department chaplain or someone from their congregation to provide them with emotional support. They advised CPS was attempting to contact them and inquired on what that would be pertaining to. And I informed them that it was possibly they were trying to find a family member to place the child with, as she was currently in protective custody. Kelly mumbled that they weren't sure that they wanted that. Kelly said he couldn't talk to CPS right now, as he was still very upset. Kelly and Blair left my office shortly after. That's so sad, because they're all that baby knows. You know, I mean, that's really sad. Okay. At 13:33 hours, I received a text message from Blair Quinnell. She advised she received a second-hand information from Kyleah and Rock's mutual friend, reporting that Kyleah was near Whistling Jack's restaurant and lodge. I'm very familiar with the restaurant. It's about 40 minutes out of town of Yakima. Okay, I said I was going to stop here, right? I've got to listen to myself. We're going to do the word game, then I'm going to go to bed, because morning is going to come super fast, and we got the trial starting Monday, and I've got big things going on tomorrow. And I've been reading a long time. Okay. Daily puzzle. Where is okay. I guess I can play all alone tonight. 43 people and no players. Oh, there you are. Minnie, you say? Nope. Good try, though. I don't know why we're not getting extra words anymore. What's up with that? What's up with that? We got a present here. I don't know why, what that meaning of that is. I don't know what this is. That's okay. I think it's just you and me, Dookie. You and me against the world. Sometimes it feels like. Oh, there you are. Imp. Rip. Come on, murder. I've done almost the whole puzzle for you. Murder, why do we just have a puzzle box? Tip. Do 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 do. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's Nip. I'll play one other game since you were so late to the game. I don't know if you can still hear me. I think my internet just went out. My internet just went out. Isn't that great? That's great. Let's see. Are we back on or are we back off? Let me see. Let me do a refresh. Are we streaming? I think we're still streaming. It brought us back. Okay, we're still on, I guess. Okay, I got rainfall before you though, Murder, and then you got rain and real. Your internet went out too? Oh my gosh. You know what? I think they're using jammers on us. And you over there across the pond and me, it's a conspiracy to stop us from playing this game. That's crazy. That's how bad they want us to stop this. Final. It's the final countdown. It's a conspiracy, I'm telling you. Don't laugh. It's really true. Really. Flare. Very good. Flare pen. Hey, MRB feels like home. Good night, all. Thank you, Super Chat, for the Super Chat. Let me play you a Super Chat song. Thank you, Planet Damnation. Let me play you a Super Chat song. Super Chat. Super Chat. That'll give a chance for Murder to get some words. I'll play the extended version.
Chat, look at you.
Braille, very good.
Sending love, we see it too. Thank you, Rambler, shining bright. Mommy Ramblers love tonight. Lights are glowing, hearts are true. Every word we feel with you. Super Chat, you light the room. Like a star in midnight. Messages like stars alive.